I thought it was just a normal day until I saw the email with the subject line, "Final Wedding Confirmation." And the groom's name was my fiance's. The part that haunts me most isn't what he did. It's how calm I was while my whole world collapsed. My hands didn't shake. My throat didn't close. I just sat there staring at the screen, reading the date and the venue over and over, like if I blinked enough the words would rearrange themselves into something less cruel, into something that didn't say he was marrying someone else. We'd been together for 3 years, engaged for 1, our wedding was 6 months away, and suddenly I was looking at proof that he was planning a second wedding at the very same time. You know those moments where your body feels split in two? One part screaming, "This can't be happening," while the other part, disturbingly calm, just starts gathering evidence like an investigator. That was me. I opened the email. I read the bride's name, Melissa. I'd never heard of her, not once. He'd never slipped, never misspoke, never dropped a single clue. And yet, here she was, a stranger. A woman who thought she was about to walk down the aisle with the same man who kissed me goodnight every evening. I closed my laptop, stood up. The silence of my apartment felt heavier than any scream. And all I could think was, how do you plan 2 weddings without ever getting caught? I needed to see him. I needed to hear him lie so I could catch the truth hiding between his words. When he walked in that evening, the world didn't tilt, didn't collapse. He smelled like cedar and his stupid cologne. He smiled, kissed my cheek, and asked what was for dinner. Like nothing was wrong. Like my heart wasn't shattering just watching him. I almost blurted it out right there. "Who is Melissa? Why are you engaged to her?" But instead I played along. I cooked pasta, I poured wine. I laughed when he told me some dumb story about work. And I studied him like he was a painting I'd never really seen before. His jawline, when he chewed, the way he tapped his fork when he got excited, the little crinkle in his shirt collar. Every detail felt like evidence, like proof that this was real, that he existed, that he was mine. Except he wasn't. After dinner, he leaned against the counter, eyes warm, voice low, and said, "I can't wait to marry you." And I swear, my entire body went cold. Because those words, those exact words, he was saying to her too. Somewhere in some other kitchen, maybe with the same smile. The thought made bile rise in my throat. I kissed him anyway. Soft, searching. Like maybe if I kissed him hard enough I'd find the answer on his lips. He kissed back, deep and certain. And for a second, it almost worked. For a second, I believed him again. But when I pulled away, my hand brushed the inside pocket of his blazer, draped carelessly over the chair. Something crinkled. A folded paper. I shouldn't have. God, I know I shouldn't have. But my fingers slipped inside, and before I could stop myself, I was staring at a glossy brochure. The same venue from the email. A date circled in red ink. A note in his handwriting. "Call Melissa. Confirm flowers." My vision blurred. My chest tightened. He was right there, smiling at me, talking about a weekend trip. And all I could hear was the deafening silence of my own discovery. I tucked the paper back inside his coat before he noticed. Pretended to yawn. Pretended everything was fine. But inside, something fractured beyond repair. Later that night, when he fell asleep beside me, arm heavy across my waist, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. My phone glowed in my hand. I pulled up the email again. The date. The names. The proof. I thought about Melissa. Did she know about me? Was she lying in her bed somewhere, scrolling through her own Pinterest wedding boards, dreaming about a man who wasn't hers? Or worse, did she know and not care? I wanted to hate her, but all I could hate was him, and myself for not knowing sooner. That was the night I made a choice, not to leave. Not yet. Not to confront him, but to follow the trail, to collect the pieces, to look him in the eye when the moment came and say, I know. Because if he could build an entire secret life, then I could build a secret truth. And when the two finally collided, someone's world was going to burn. I didn't sleep that night. His breathing was steady, heavy, like nothing in the world could touch him. Like he wasn't lying between two women, two lives, two promises. I watched the faint light from the window trace across his face, and for the first time I didn't see the man I loved. I saw a stranger. But strangers can be studied, and I was ready to learn everything. The next morning, he kissed me goodbye, coffee in one hand, briefcase in the other, just like always. I smiled, whispered have a good day, and closed the door softly behind him. My stomach knotted, my pulse pounding, but I didn't cry. Instead, I opened my laptop and typed her name into search. Melissa Carter. Her face filled the screen. Brunette, soft eyes, a smile that felt too gentle for what she was about to walk into. She looked happy, innocent. She didn't look like a woman plotting to steal someone else's fiancé. She looked like me. Scrolling, I found the engagement announcement, a picture of him and her hand in hand, a ring glinting in the sun. His arm wrapped around her waist, his eyes locked on hers. The caption read, "She said yes. Forever starts now." My chest clenched. I felt like I couldn't breathe, but at the same time something inside me sharpened. I wasn't imagining this, I wasn't crazy. He was hers too. For days I lived a double life. By his side I was the fiancé he adored, the partner he joked with, the woman he touched with casual tenderness. But alone, I was a detective. I tracked their venue, their planner, their date. I found her Instagram. The way she captioned photos of him made my skin crawl. Can't believe I get to marry my best friend. Counting down the days until I walk down the aisle to you. Every word carved into me like a blade. One night he came home late. Too late. His tie loosened, his shirt untucked. He smelled faintly of perfume, sweet, floral, not mine. He kissed me anyway, quick and careless, as if I were a habit, not a choice. Long day? I asked softly, tilting my head, watching him. He didn't flinch, didn't break eye contact. Just sighed, loosened his cuffs and said, "You have no idea." I wanted to scream, to tear into him until the mask fell away. Instead, I touched his hand, traced my fingers along his wrist and whispered, "Tell me about it." He leaned into me, his body, his warmth, his presence. It all felt real, too real, and that was the danger. Every time he held me, I almost forgot. Almost. But then I remembered Melissa's smile, the way her hand rested on his chest in that photograph. The words, "Forever starts now," and the rage simmered again. It was a Friday when I decided I couldn't just sit in the shadows anymore. I needed more. Proof that went beyond emails and photos. Proof that would force him to crumble. So I told him I was going to visit my sister for the weekend. He smiled, kissed me goodbye, and said, "I'll miss you." I didn't leave. I followed him. My heart hammered as I trailed his car across town. Every red light felt like the universe asking me, "Are you sure?" And every time the answer was yes. He pulled into a small cafe on the edge of the city. And then, she appeared. Melissa. Her hair pulled back, wearing a soft blue dress. She lit up when she saw him. He lit up too. And in that moment, sitting in my car with the steering wheel trembling under my hands, I realized the truth. He wasn't just lying. He was in love with both of us. I watched them laugh, lean close, touch hands across the table like teenagers. My stomach twisted, but my eyes wouldn't look away. Every gesture was a knife. But I needed the cuts. I needed the scars. When he brushed her cheek with the back of his hand, something inside me snapped. The calmness shattered. My fingers fumbled for my phone. I lifted it, the lens focusing through the windshield, and I captured it. Proof. Undeniable. They left the cafe together, his hand on her back, her smile tilted up at him. They looked like a couple in love. And that's when I knew I couldn't stay silent forever. That night, when he came home, he wrapped his arms around me, his lips at my neck, his voice low and tender. God, I love you. And I whispered back, do you? He froze, just for a second. His breath hitched. But then he laughed, kissed me deeper, and said, of course I do. The photographs burned a hole in my phone. Every time I opened the gallery, my chest constricted, but I couldn't delete them. Proof. They were proof. Him with her. His hand brushing her cheek. His smile. The same smile he gave me when he wanted me to feel like the only woman in the world. Except I wasn't. For days I carried that weight silently, moving through life like an actress in a play I didn't audition for, smiling at him when he made coffee, laughing when he told me stories, letting his hands find mine under the table. Every touch was a lie, but my body still remembered how to respond. And that was the cruelest part. I still wanted him. But there comes a point where silence becomes unbearable. A point where the words claw their way up your throat until you have no choice but to let them out. It was a Sunday evening. We were on the couch, his arm draped around me, the TV murmuring in the background. He smelled like cedar and warmth, the way he always did. His thumb traced lazy circles over my shoulder. He leaned in, kissed my temple, and whispered, I can't believe I get to marry you. The words lodged in my chest, my mouth went dry, and before I could stop myself, I whispered back, who else are you marrying? His hand stilled. The air shifted. He pulled back just enough to look at me, eyes narrowed, searching my face. What? His voice was steady. Too steady. I forced a smile, though my heart was pounding so hard I thought it might bruise my ribs. Melissa, I said softly, do you tell her the same thing? The silence was deafening. His jaw tightened, his eyes flickered, and for the first time I saw it. The crack in his mask. He didn't deny it. Not immediately. He just stared at me like he was calculating the angle of his next move. And then he laughed. Low. Disbelieving. Where did you get that name? I held his gaze, my fingers gripping the edge of the couch cushion like it might tether me. From your email, from the brochure in your coat pocket, from the cafe, where I watched you touch her face like she was yours. My voice trembled, but I didn't break. So tell me, is she your fiancé too? Or am I the mistress in this story? His face paled, the laughter dying instantly. He opened his mouth, closed it, then tried again. It's not what you think. The cliché stung. My chest tightened, with something sharp, almost bitter. Then tell me what it is, I whispered. Tell me why the man I thought I knew is planning 2 weddings at the same time. His hand twitched like he wanted to reach for me. He didn't. Instead, he whispered, I didn't mean for this to happen. And that, God, that was worse. Because it meant he wasn't sorry for doing it. He was sorry for being caught. I stood, needing space, needing air, my body shaking as if the truth was physically tearing through me. He rose too, reaching out, but I stepped back. His fingers hovered in the space between us, a touch that never landed. Do you love her? I asked. My voice cracked, softer than I meant, but the words hung heavy in the air. His eyes flicked away. That silence was louder than any answer. I felt the floor tilt under me, the room spinning. I wanted to scream, to collapse, to run. But instead, I said the only thing I could manage. I loved you so much and I don't even know who you are. He moved closer, desperate now, his voice breaking. You do know me. You're the one I come home to. The one I need. Melissa. She doesn't understand me the way you do. She's safe, you. His words caught. His eyes burned. You're the one who scares me because you make me feel everything. For a second, the room spun differently. His voice was raw, vulnerable, almost pleading. And my heart, damn my heart, lurched. Because I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that I was the one he couldn't live without. But belief doesn't erase betrayal. Tears stung my eyes as I whispered, then why am I not enough? His face crumpled and he stepped closer, close enough that I could feel his breath against my skin. He didn't kiss me. Not yet. His hand hovered near my cheek, trembling, waiting for permission, and I hated myself for it, but I let him. His fingertips brushed my jaw, tentative, reverent, the kind of touch that felt like a confession in itself. I'm sorry, he breathed, voice ragged. I don't know how to stop loving both of you. My chest ached with the weight of it. My eyes closed, and before I knew it, his lips pressed against mine. Soft. Shattering. A kiss filled with desperation, with apology, with hunger. A kiss that made my body betray me because I kissed him back. For a moment, nothing else existed. Just us. Just the way his mouth moved against mine like it was the only truth left, until my phone buzzed on the table. Loud. Sharp. I pulled away, breathless, heart pounding, and glanced at the screen. Melissa. Calling. His face drained of color. Mine. Too. Her name flashing on my phone felt like the universe itself pressing its thumb into the bruise of my heart. Melissa. Calling. The screen glowed in the dim light, a cruel reminder that this secret wasn't just mine and his anymore. It was pressing. Against the walls, ready to burst out and drown us both. I didn't move, neither did he. We both just stared at the phone, its vibration buzzing louder than any scream. Finally, it silenced. The room exhaled. But then it lit up again. Her name. Again. I picked it up. His eyes widened, panic flashing across his face, and he whispered, "Don't." And for the first time I smiled, not with joy but with something sharp, something dangerous. "Why not?" I asked, my voice trembling but steady enough to cut. He reached for the phone, but I pulled back, holding it close. My thumb hovered over the screen, over the green button that would connect me not just to her voice but to the other half of his lie. The call ended. Silence pressed down between us. I lowered the phone slowly, my eyes locked on him. His lips parted as if he wanted to explain, to beg, to weave another thread into his web. But no words came. So I spoke. You know what the cruelest part is? For a moment tonight I believed you. When you touched me, when you kissed me, I wanted so badly to believe I was the only one, and then her name lit up and the truth didn't let me hide anymore. His shoulders sagged, his jaw tight. I never wanted to hurt you, he whispered. A bitter laugh escaped me, raw and broken. Then why did you? Why her? Why me? Why both of us? He stepped closer, his voice low, desperate. Because I'm selfish, because when I'm with you I feel alive. You push me, you challenge me, you make me better. But with her, his throat worked and he whispered, she makes me feel safe, like I can breathe, like I don't have to be enough. Tears blurred my vision, not because of his words, but because of the way they almost made sense, because a part of me understood. And that terrified me. Do you hear yourself? I choked out. You're planning 2 weddings, 2 lives. Do you realize what kind of monster that makes you? His hand shot out, catching mine before I could pull away. His grip was warm, trembling. Don't call me that, please, I love you. The word shattered inside me. Love. How dare he still use it like a shield, like it could protect him from what he'd done. I ripped my hand free, my chest heaving. Love doesn't split itself in two. Love doesn't ask me to share. Love doesn't lie every single day. For the first time, he broke. His face crumpled, his voice cracking. I don't know how to let go of either of you. The vulnerability in his eyes gutted me, because I knew him. I knew when he was lying, and when he wasn't. And right now, he wasn't. He was just broken. But broken doesn't excuse betrayal. I took a step back, my body trembling with the weight of everything unsaid. My heart begged me to stay. My mind screamed for me to run. And caught between them, I whispered the words I never thought I'd say. Maybe neither of us should have you. His breath hitched, like the air had been ripped from his lungs. He reached out again, but I didn't let him touch me this time. I couldn't. Silence stretched between us, thick and suffocating. The only sound was the faint hum of the city outside, the world continuing as if mine hadn't just collapsed. Finally, he whispered, please, don't leave me tonight. Not like this. And God help me. I stayed. Not because I forgave him. Not because I trusted him. But because some part of me still craved the warmth of his arms, the familiar weight of his body beside mine. Because letting go, truly letting go, felt like more than I could survive in that moment. We lay in the dark, not touching, our breaths uneven, the air between us charged with everything unsaid. My eyes traced the ceiling, but my mind traced every moment we had shared. The laughter, the stolen kisses, the plans whispered in bed. And now, the cracks running through all of it. I realized something in that silence. Betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quietest thing in the world. Sometimes it's lying inches away from the person who shattered you and feeling your heart ache because you still want them. When sleep finally came, it wasn't peaceful. It was jagged, filled with dreams of her face, his touch, their laughter, at the cafe. I woke before dawn, his arm heavy across my waist, and I felt caged. I slipped out of bed, my feet cold against the floor, and looked back at him one last time. The man who was mine, and hers. And in that moment I knew. The breaking point wasn't this fight. The breaking point was still coming, because the truth always finds its way to the surface. And when it did, none of us would walk away whole. The breaking point came sooner than I expected. 2 weeks later, I was sipping coffee at my kitchen table when my phone buzzed again. Her name, Melissa. This time it wasn't a call. It was a message. Hi. I think we need to talk. I don't know how else to say this, but I think we're engaged to the same man. The words blurred as I read them. My chest constricted, my hand trembling against the mug. She knew. The walls of his double life had finally cracked, and now they were collapsing. I stared at the message for a long time. A part of me wanted to ignore it, to stay cocooned in the illusion just a little longer. But the bigger part, the one that had been gathering pieces of truth like broken glass, typed back before I could stop myself. Yes, we are. Meet me. We chose a quiet cafe downtown, neutral ground. The hours leading up to it felt surreal, like walking into a storm I'd been watching gather for months. When she walked in, I recognized her instantly. Melissa, the woman from the photos, the one whose smile haunted my nights. She was softer in person, her hair pulled back, her hands trembling as she clutched her purse. And God help me. She looked just as broken as I felt. We didn't need to introduce ourselves. Our eyes met, and in that single moment, everything Was understood. He told me he loved me. She whispered, her voice barely audible. My throat tightened. He told me the same thing every day. She looked down, her lashes wet. We picked out flowers last week. He said he couldn't wait to see me walk down the aisle. My stomach twisted. He told me he couldn't wait to see me too, Thorim. Silence between us was unbearable, but in that silence something unexpected happened. We weren't enemies. We were victims. Two women who had been orbiting the same sun, not knowing it was burning us both alive. I pulled out my phone, slid it across the table, and showed her the photos I'd taken at the cafe. Him, her, the way he touched her cheek. Her lips parted. A soft, broken sound escaped her, and she covered her mouth with her hand. Tears slid down her cheeks. She whispered, "How could he?" And I didn't have an answer. But I knew one thing. He couldn't keep us both anymore. That night I waited, for him. My heart pounded as his key turned in the lock, as he stepped inside like nothing had changed, but everything had. "Hey, beautiful," he said softly, setting down his bag, his smile easy, familiar. He moved toward me, leaning in for a kiss. I stepped back. He froze. His eyes searched mine, confusion flickering. "What's wrong?" Melissa stepped out from the shadows of the kitchen. His body jolted, his face draining of color. For a heartbeat, none of us moved. The air was so thick I could barely breathe. Then his lips parted, but no words came out. Melissa spoke first. Her voice was steady even though her hands trembled. "How long were you going to keep this going?" His eyes darted between us like a cornered animal. It's not what you think. Stop." My voice cut through his lie. "We know everything. The emails, the flowers, the rings, the nights you split between us." He staggered back, his composure unraveling. "I didn't mean for this." "No," I snapped. "You meant every single thing. You meant to lie. You meant to build two futures on our backs. You meant to watch us both fall in love with you, knowing you'd never choose." Melissa's voice cracked. "Did you ever love me?" And then mine, breaking too. "Did you ever love either of us?" His eyes glistened. For the first time he looked small, defeated. He whispered, "I loved you both." The words hit like knives, because they weren't enough, because they weren't true love, because love isn't a coin you flip between hands. I shook my head slowly. "No, you loved yourself. We were just mirrors you liked to see yourself in." Melissa's tears fell harder. She grabbed her purse, her voice trembling but fierce. "I'm done." She walked past him, her shoulder brushing his, and she was gone. And then it was just me. Him, the man I thought I'd marry. He reached for me, desperation spilling from every pore. "Don't leave me, please. You're the one I can't live without." I stepped back. My voice cracked, but it was firm. "If you couldn't live without me, you wouldn't have needed her." His face broke. He sank into the chair, burying his head in his hands. But I didn't go to him. Not this time. I picked up my ring, the one he'd slipped on my finger with promises of forever, and placed it on the table beside him. "Forever ended tonight," I whispered. The air was thick, with silence as I turned, walked out the door, and didn't look back. The night air hit my face, sharp and cold. My chest ached, my legs trembled, but with every step I felt lighter. Because love should never be shared in secret. Love should never feel like betrayal. Love should be whole, and I deserved whole. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt free. And though my heart was shattered, I knew this. I would heal. And he would